I feel like Greta Gerwig's that type of person that's like friends with all your friends. So you see him on Instagram and Twitter all the time and you're just like, fuck, I want to be their best friend. Howdy guys, my name is Jake Quinn and welcome to my review of Little Women, which was directed by Greta Gerwig, her first feature film since the groundbreaking Lady Bird, and featuring an extremely stacked cast of Saoirse Ronan, Timothée Chalamet, Laura Dern, Florence Pugh, Meryl Streep, the list goes on. I was lucky enough to have been invited to an early screening of the film for Academy members and their families, and after the show was an equally stacked panel of Greta Gerwig, Florence Pugh, producer Amy Pascal, composer Alexandra Desplat, editor Nick Huey, and production designer Jess Gonshore. It was so cool, and I'm wicked thankful to my coworker Jamal for inviting me, especially because a lot of what I'm going to be talking about here is stuff that they brought up during the panel. But before the panel even had a chance to start, the first thing that hit me as soon as the credits began to roll was just how warm and fuzzy I felt inside. The film certainly has some sad and upsetting and even angering moments, but as a whole, it's just so full of life. You get an expertly balanced dose of so many emotions and you walk away from it just feeling full. This movie's cozy. It's so fucking cozy. My exact thoughts on the production design and the family dynamic and just existing in these sisters' home was that it's exactly like coming home from college for the first time your freshman year. You're just smacked in the face with holidays and festive decorations and the light is soft and warm. And after this huge step out of your comfort zone, you step back into one of the most comfortable places you have. And on top of that, you know where all the soft blankets are, all the warm drinks, all that kind of stuff. And this is actually almost verbatim what Gerwig and Gonshore said they were going for, so kudos to them. Another thing I was amazed by was how modern the story felt, and I think this can be attributed to both Louisa May Alcott and Gerwig. The story itself fits so well in today's ongoing narratives of gender disparity, especially with money, interestingly enough. And while the circumstances of these women in the 1800s aren't identical to those of women today, they are shockingly similar. What is identical is the emotions, and the characters exhibit the same kind of frustrations, confusions, and even anger that so many women express about their situations today. It's probably something you've seen firsthand. So it's pretty fucking ironic the Globe snubbed this one. What Greta Gerwig did with Alcott's genius here was not change any of the dialogue, but instead the delivery. All of the conversations are choreographed so tightly and so painstakingly that it becomes, at the risk of sounding cliche, musical. If what Uncut Gems did in this regard was jazz, Little Women is classical. Just like Desplat's score, the dialogue has this rolling, fluttering, progressing sound to it, and the result is so energetic and conversational that it sounds real. There's never one of those moments that so many period pieces has where somebody's just going on with this throaty English babble and it's just But what makes all of this possible is the actors, and they are a treat. Saoirse Ronan is as great as ever. She has this monologue in the second half that really struck me. Thank you, Nick Huey, for holding on that close-up so long. My boy Timmy's fantastic per usual. He has this one scene that makes me want to travel to the alternate universe where he and I are in a theater troupe together, and then he has this other one that's just a fucking gut punch, as if Call Me By Your Name didn't instill so much psychological damage already. And then Florence Pugh. She brings so much nuance and humor and relatability to this one character that could have easily been overshadowed, thus bringing the entire movie down, but nope, because she steals the fucking show. And she is integral to how the story is told as well as it is. Historically, the Oscars have always overlooked horror movies, so as much as I want her to win Best Actress for Midsommar, she is equally deserving for Best Supporting Actress for her work here. She's already pretty huge, so this isn't much of a hot take, but this time next year, she is going to be the biggest actress in the world, and for good reason. Also, I feel like I should throw this in there, but I have not read the book. But I really wish I had had it assigned to me in high school or something, because I think I would have just been such a more sensitive person growing up. Now, I'm not surprised I didn't have to read it in school, considering I went to a traditional Catholic school, but if I ever have a son, I am making him read this. But if he's anything like me, he'll watch the movie instead, which, in this case, is not a bad alternative. Overall, anything Greta Gerwig touches is a joy. After directing Lady Bird, a movie so close to her personal life and thus packed with so much dense material for her to work off of, it would have almost made sense if her follow-up film wasn't as good, but I am happy to report this is absolutely not the case here. Greta Gerwig knows what she's fucking doing. She's just breathing so much life into cinema, and she's gotta be one of my favorite working directors today. And I'm so glad I'm here to watch her progress as a director. She's also one of the most fascinating people to listen to talk. She's like a cool older sister. If you haven't checked it out, I totally recommend listening to her episode of the A24 podcast. Her perspectives and the way she phrases things are always so insightful and so fun. And with all of that in mind, the verdict. I hereby give this film next favorite Christmas movie that's not actually a Christmas movie out of 10. Again, my name is Jake Quinn. Feel free to subscribe, give the subscribe button a little smooch, do whatever the fuck you want on the internet, and share this video with anyone you'd like to, even if they're not Florence Pugh. Thank you for watching.